So I've got to ask, now that you've had a chance to really take a look and look around the store, what do you think about it? Yeah, I'm Chris Lawrence from NBC4, and I'm honored to be here with you here this morning. I grew up in Detroit, which for a lot of years was a city very similar to D.C. And I remember when I moved back there as an adult, there wasn't one viable major grocery store in the city. And I remember having to drive out to the suburbs to shop and come back, to my apartment. And at the time, I was young, single. I mean, luckily, I had the money, I had the time. I wasn't buying that many groceries. But I couldn't imagine doing that as a family. Later, when I lived in Brooklyn, sort of pre-gentrification Brooklyn, I'd go to the local bodega, and you would see a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk with the expiration date on the day that I walked into the store. And I remember going to the owner and saying, "You wouldn't buy this for your family. Why would you sell it to us?" And I say all that to say, bars are great, restaurants are great. Nothing is more important to a neighborhood, to the livability of a neighborhood, than a good grocery store. And I think that when people can walk into a clean building to buy fresh food from people who respect them and treat them with dignity, that means that this is not just a building in a neighborhood, it's part of the foundation of the neighborhood. We're pleased to welcome today several honored guests and elected officials. First, we have the Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for ANC 4C06, Van D. Galloway. And we also have ANC 4C08 Commissioner Timothy Jones. We're also pleased to welcome two of our at-large members of the D.C. City Council. Please give a warm welcome to council members Anita Bonds and Vincent Orange. And for our first speaker today, we are very privileged to welcome the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Mayor Vincent Gray.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's delightful to be able to welcome such a large festive crowd on this occasion. I want to say good morning, and Chris, it was delightful to hear such substance of your presentation, your history of Detroit. And by the way, you may know this, that there was a native Washingtonian who not so long ago was the mayor of Detroit. Great basketball player, Dave Bing. And did a great job helping to continue to restore Detroit to its previous prominence. I want to say hello and good morning to the elected officials who are here, to the council member who represents this ward, Council Member Muriel Bowser, who is here with us this morning. And to the council member who represents all wards, and that is, of course, at-large Council Member Anita Bonds. Anita, thank you for being here this morning. I also want to say good morning to a gentleman who is a native Washingtonian. I didn't find out until today that he actually has retired after 36 years of service. He's not only a native Washingtonian, he went to St. John's High School, and I think originally grew up right here in Petworth. He was a vice admiral in the Coast Guard, a man who we worked with to be able to see a new Coast Guard headquarters in Ward 8 of the District of Columbia, a man who I've gotten to know. I just said to him, I wish I had known him before we got to know each other, and somebody who I know will do even more for this city, and that is Vice Admiral Manson Brown. I also want to say good morning to all the residents of the armed forces retirement home who have joined us. You know, I don't think we can say enough about those who have served our country, like Vice Admiral Brown and the other folks who are here with us this morning. Will we take a moment and say thank you so much to those who have served our country and helped to keep us a nation that is free, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it delightful to be able to be in this wonderful new Safeway store? How many people here remember the previous Safeway store that was on? I swear, you know, I used to go up and down Georgia Avenue, and what was remarkable about this was that the parking lot was right out in the front of the store, and you had to look well beyond the parking lot in order to see the store. But you know what? I think this speaks so well of Safeway. Safeway has been in the District of Columbia since 1928. I don't think there is any grocery store, any store virtually of any kind, that can make the statement that it has been in the nation's capital, in the District of Columbia, for 86 years, ladies and gentlemen. How about a big hand for Safeway? I think that store was here for about 50 years, is that right? And they promised they're going to build a new store on this site at least every 50 years. And you know what truly is seriously, what's really remarkable about this is the fact that this reflects the contemporary approach to urban living, and that is, it isn't just a store in isolation as existed, you know, across this nation for so many years. Now residential has been built to be a part of it. I think we have over 200 units that are located here on this site, and that means you've got a built-in clientele. And I don't have any doubt with the quality of the work that Safeway does, I know exactly what store they will be going to in order to be able to meet their needs. Again, Safeway has been a great corporate citizen, has 1,800 employees here in the District of Columbia, and we are delighted to be able to see that. Has $9 million in charitable causes across the region last year, and is now, as I understand it, third in the city in terms of the number of volunteer hours that are contributed to causes, and fifth in the region for corporate philanthropy. And I know there's two events that I'm familiar with, and many of you are just as familiar with as well, and that is the annual pilgrimage the day before Thanksgiving to the convention center for the thousands who have come there to be a part of the Feast of Sharing. And that is a tradition that has now been established in the District of Columbia, and we thank you all for doing that. I don't know how many people come there, but there's the biggest room in the convention center and literally filled with people who are there eating and people who are giving of their time to be able to serve. And then just last weekend was the barbecue battle down on Pennsylvania Avenue. I missed that, unfortunately, because I was at a meeting in Dallas, the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting, but it's the first time in years that I've missed that meeting. And also, I want to thank you all for what you've done also, and that is to be the sponsor the last several years of the Turkey Bowl. And that is being able to make sure that our young people have a great experience in playing football, playing the championship football game. So again, this is the 14th store in the District of Columbia. I suspect that there will be more. To you, Brian, I want to thank you for your leadership here in this region. To Greg and Craig, that's an easy one, rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? To Greg and Craig, they have been troopers, and they've been great to work with, Brian, and they do a great job of representing Safeway. So thank you all very much. This is a great day. It's a festive occasion. And this is now the 14th store in the District of Columbia, and there's at least 14 more to go, ladies and gentlemen, in the years ahead. Thank you.
Wow, 14 more. If the pressure wasn't on already, it certainly is now. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And I want to now introduce the council member for this ward of the city. She's been influential in the development of this site for many years, and I'm sure she is very happy now to see sort of it all come to fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Ward 4 council member and Democratic nominee for mayor, Ms. Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, Petworth. Good morning. We made it, and we're very excited, and I'm just delighted to be here this morning. I don't really have the words to express how very happy we are. I heard from residents all across this great neighborhood in Petworth 7 years ago when we went around talking about the future of this ward and the future of Georgia Avenue. This Safeway was mentioned more than any other thing. And so I made the commitment then that we would do everything possible to make sure we move these projects on Georgia Avenue, including this Safeway. What's special about Petworth is that as we have developed Georgia Avenue and developed Petworth, neighbors and communities and ANCs and civic leaders have been at the table for every step of the way. And this project is no different. So it brings me great pleasure to acknowledge the community leaders who have worked with me, who have worked with the Gray administration, who have worked with the Fenty administration and the Williams administration to get so many projects along Georgia Avenue going. So please join me in acknowledging ANC 4C. The Petworth Action Committee. Where's the Petworth Action Committee? Give them a big round of applause. And all of the community associations that surround us. We started, like the mayor said, when talking about revitalizing our grocery stores. It was a very hard conversation to say to Safeway and others, we want you to build a store, but you can't have a sea of parking in front. Now, that's all that is built in the District of Columbia. Mixed-use retail that allows us not only to have wonderful retail spaces like this one, but great, smart growth development on top of a metro station. So I want everybody who's here to go out and spread the word that you can walk here, you can get here by metro, and there's parking beneath here. So you too can shop from Safeway, at Safeway, no matter where you're going. This development is really a part of a bigger scheme in Petworth, a bigger plan. We see the development across the street, the development of the Raymond Recreation Center, and all along the way, along these nodes is going to be important. What's been very special to us about this project as well is that you've hired a lot of local residents. During the construction phase, we could walk past the construction and see our neighbors working. And we know how many DC residents work in this store. So let's give the people that are going to serve us here at Safeway a big round of applause. So when we were talking to Craig and Avis, I think I saw these are great Safeway employees that have helped us along the way. What Petworth residents would tell me is that they wanted to go to the Georgetown store or to the 5th and K store, and they wanted exactly those things. So is that what we got? We got exactly those things. So, and more. So there's produce, organic meats, cheeses, local beer selection, a sushi chef, salad bar, deli counter, ethnic food section, and our friends at Starbucks, which I know a lot of people are excited about. And above us, as the mayor said, are people who are going to join our Ward 4 community and move into fantastic apartments that will allow them great access to the Petworth Metro. So it's just with great pride that I welcome all of you. It's with sincere thanks that I, too, recognize the commitment that Safeway has had to the District of Columbia. When other retailers fled or when others wouldn't come, Safeway was here all across the District of Columbia. And in addition to this beautiful store, they've worked with me over the last several years to also make investments at Piney Branch, just up the road a little ways. And it's going to be important that we continue to make those investments as well. So to all at Safeway, congratulations. To Petworth, thank you for hanging in there. We got exactly what we wanted.
All right, thank you very much, Councilmember Bowser. Our next speaker is the gentleman actually responsible for developing this site into one of the most beautiful buildings in this neighborhood. In addition to this new Safeway, I think as Mayor Gray touched on, this is going to have about 218 rental apartments in what is known as the Swift Residences. He is the president and CEO of Dubal LLC, so please welcome Mark Dubik.
What a great day. Thanks everybody for being here. And before I get started, I have one quick funny story. It was a Saturday afternoon. We had broken ground maybe 60 days prior. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm in my dining room getting ready to coach youth sports with my little guys, and the phone rings. I don't recognize the number. I pick it up, and I hear, "Hi, Mark, how are you? How we doing?" I said, "We're doing fine." "Who's this?" "It's Mariel." And then there was silence. "How we doing?" I said, "Everything's great." "Well, what can we do to help get this store open?" Anything we can do. And I just want to thank the mayor. I want to thank council member. You guys have been great. The district's been great. The agencies, the amount of people involved in this, from the inspectors. You know, I start naming names. I'm going to leave somebody out. But it's been amazing, and we're very appreciative of that. So it's a great day. September 19th, 2012, 21 months ago, we physically started this. We knew there was going to be some disruption. We were able to keep it to a minimum. And here we are with the final product. And we're thrilled about it. There's 218 units, 18 of which are in the inclusionary zoning program. We're going to start leasing, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and get some new residents living here. We wanted to get the store open as soon as we could. That's why we're a couple weeks behind on the residents, but we'll get there. There's so many people that presented themselves, worked tirelessly, so many companies. It's really hard to name everybody, but I do need to acknowledge some people. I'll try to be fast. I know Brian Bear is going to talk about a bunch of people, but you know, first and foremost, the real estate team at Safeway, Tim Baker, Avis Black. Without them, you know, this doesn't happen. They're fantastic. You know, Avis has such amazing attention to detail. Yesterday, she called me at about 11 o'clock. "Get down here, something, you know, we're going to get there." Well, we got there, but love the persistence. Without them, obviously, it doesn't happen. Scott Jacobs and Bob Messer of the design group. I mean, look at the design of this place. It's fantastic. They deserve a lot of credit. Sean Decker, Joe Sullivan, Opie from the construction side. You know, thing needs to get built. Hundreds and hundreds of workers. Yesterday there was over, I think, 300 workers in the building between here and upstairs, not including the Safeway employees. So it's an amazing amount of people that it takes to have this mission come together. The project architects located up north of here on Georgia Avenue. Brian O'Looney is the lead. Tom Gallus is here. Great job. The guys from Browns Van Duzer, Mark McAfee, did the interiors. Again, super job. Bizzuto Construction, there's a couple guys. Patrick Sansi went home at 3 in the morning. He's worked 40 straight days. Matt Bland, Mike Schlegel, the president. Fantastic effort. You know, building in an urban core like this with all the product getting in and out is really hard. They deserve a lot of credit. Lots and lots of other people. I mean, where do I start? Jerry Moore, unbelievable, helping us get the permits and entitlements. BJ Lockhart, right around the corner, helped us with the insurance. BJ's here somewhere, great guy. Thank you very much. Project engineers, the names go on and on. Eagle Bank, without them, $35 million loan here. You know, go back 36 months, it's not a no-brainer putting $35 million in Petworth. With all due respect, there hadn't been a lot of $35 million bank debt in this community. Community Bank, Doug Vegan, Tony Marquez, and the president himself, Ron Paul, was involved in the loan. My partners from Bavermo, they're here, Laurie Millspaw and others. It takes a whole capital stack, not just the debt, but the equity in order to see this come to fruition. So thank you very much for them as well. My partners and guys that made it happen, John Segretti, Mitch Yennis, and maybe most importantly, Kevin Woodley. I mean, just tireless effort to make this all come to fruition. I'm proud to be associated with them. Lastly, lots of folks from the district, as I mentioned. I don't see Van Dyke here. I see David Tumlin from the ANC back there. Fantastic. Thank you very much. What a great community to work in. We're honored that we had a chance to work in your community. We leave because we don't live here. You get the legacy of it, so we're very excited about that. And again, thank you for everybody that participated. I know I left some people out, but you get the point. Great group effort. It takes a village, and thank you everybody for participating and being here.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. It's now my pleasure to bring to the stage the man who is responsible for all 125 Safeway stores in this region. This is just one of many stretching from Delaware all the way down to Virginia. He's the president of Safeway's Eastern Division. Please put your hands together for Brian Baer.
Thanks, Chris. Well, I know what it's like to be playing in the group behind Tiger Woods now over at Congressional. To follow that act, it just sucked the air out of the room. And plus, they took about 80% of my material. Mayor, Councilmember Bowser, Mark, you basically took about almost everything. So what I'm going to leave you with is a couple of things that matter most to me. So as many of you don't know me, I've been here about 6 months. I lived here in the district in the 80s. I've been all over the United States since then. But first, I want to say I'm extremely honored and humbled to be here today for this opening of this. I think this store, of all the 125 you mentioned, and the 14 in the district, over 2,000 employees, you guys know your numbers. I think this is the best Safeway yet, and there's one reason. I'll sum it up in one word: community. Mayor, we talked earlier, I also follow the same philosophy that I don't want our stores to be in a community. I want it to be part of the community. And you can't say it, you got to make people feel it. And we've spent a lot of time. I've been here since January, and the first thing I said is I want to get in this community. We were celebrating Petworth Festival a month or two ago. Been out in the community meeting business owners, residents. I can tell you there's some great mamba sauce down the street on 14th at Smokey's. Fantastic. Angela over there. I don't know if you know Angela, but she is really a wonderful person. But the bottom line is that it's about customers. I only care about people that work with me. Know that there's things that I call the three things that matter most: customers, employees, and growing your business. But to be honest with you, I've found over many decades that it's a lot easier to grow your business if you really focus on those first two things. Now, you might find it funny that I might mention that customers is something that we need to prioritize, like, well, you wouldn't have a job. Well, that's true. But sometimes we take things that are pretty straightforward and make it a little complicated. And I'm here to tell you that there's never going to be a relentless focus on the customers here in Petworth. I think the marketing team, Brad Spooner, Mike Salisbury, and countless many others in our marketing side have provided the best assortment of product and services of any Safeway have for a respective community. There's over 35,000 items in this store, but that's almost triple the size of the old Petworth store that was here for 50 years. And you already mentioned a lot of the things that we have in here, but there's countless others, from a sushi chef with over 15 varieties. We have a wine specialist on premises all the time, over 500 wines, 190 cheeses with a cheesemonger who's a cheese specialist, and it goes on and on and on. And I can't thank Mark and DeBow, because they've created a center that the community can come and celebrate and socialize with, both indoor and a beautiful outdoor seating area around this entire complex. So it is about customers. And then the second thing I always talk about is employees. I cannot thank Marlene Bland and her team, who you'll get to meet in a moment, because they're the people that made this happen today. I'm the lucky one that gets up here and gets to do the nice speech, but it's Marlene and her department and the 225 employees that we've hired here. 40 are residents of Petworth, over 100 in the district, and I might have 11,000 employees in the entire Eastern Seaboard, but I can guarantee you this: my job is very simple. It's to help the entire team win and to help every one of these employees win. And this doesn't happen without them. They're the ones that make the magic happen. So will you give me a round of applause for Marlene and her department? Typical Marlene, she's fantastic, but she's always in the background. So when you see this store looking primo, and that's basically what I was going to say, Mayor. I know we're going to get a chance to talk next week, but people just want three things. They want a clean store, they want great variety with quality, and they want a decent price. It's really not that complex, is it? So I'm going to just tell you right now, up here in public, you never even want to talk, so I'm putting myself out on a limb. I can't guarantee you I'm going to double the store count in the next 10 years, but with your help. But I will guarantee you that that is an undying focus. I arrived here in January, and I saw that we can do a lot better. And so I'm making the commitment to every Safeway employee. I can guarantee you every Safeway employee works their tail off. But I'm here to help them. And they're great people. And I love the fact that we're in this community. So let me wrap up with this. And it might be the most important thing, at least to me. Being part of the community means a lot, but we're opening, obviously in the nation's capital. And several other speakers have already done a fabulous job, far better than me, recognizing and honoring the men and women that have served in our military. Behind me, what you see is what I want to have, what will be here permanently, is a visualization of Safeway's commitment, undying and unrelenting commitment to those men and women. What you see are pictures of people that live here in Petworth, as well as Safeway employees, and they only have one thing in common. They've all served in the military. They either have or they still are in the reserves. And so today I'm announcing from this point forward that anybody in this community who wants to bring a picture of a family member, a loved one, a friend who is serving or has served, we will incorporate them and put them as a permanent addition to this monument. And thank you. And as a token, and I've been honored this morning to receive a few medals, is that we've created this in conjunction with military, a symbol of anybody who brings in a picture to give to them, which is a representation of all our armed forces. So I want to thank you for that. And I would like to invite Ren Anderson from the Friends of Soldier Home, I think it's right back there, a nonprofit organization here locally, present her with a check to help support our military retirement home that's only about 4 or 5 blocks away. I've walked it a couple of times, but that's the one thing I like about cities. I'm more of a walker, and I grew up in Philadelphia, so driving around a city to me is really foreign. So, Ren, please come up and join me.
I think as Brian mentioned, Safeway has a very impressive relationship and commitment to not only supporting the military, but providing employment opportunities for veterans. Last year, the company hired more than 1,600 veterans and military personnel, and it's committed to hiring that same number again this year. Safeway has also developed a program to train former military officers to become store managers. Currently, there are more than 100 of those former officers working as store managers or managing Safeway stores, including 12 of them right here in the D.C. area. Safeway has won a lot of awards for this commitment to veterans, including the prestigious Freedom Award from the Secretary of Defense for creating employment opportunities for members of the National Guard and the Reserve. In fact, Safeway was one of the first employers to commit to covering the pay differential and extend full benefits to employees in the National Guard and Reserve that have been recalled to active duty. Today, we're very proud to have in attendance the Commanding General of the District of Columbia National Guard, Brigadier General Arthur Hinneman. And I just want to show you, I have here the agreement that was signed here earlier by Brigadier General Hinneman and Brian Baer that honors Safeway's ongoing commitment to the brave men and women of the armed forces. At this point, I'd really like to recognize some of the very distinguished guests here today that are representing the veterans from the Petworth community. First is a gentleman who grew up in this neighborhood, as Mayor Gray mentioned. He went on to become the highest-ranking African-American in the history of the United States Coast Guard. He recently, very recently, as of Tuesday, retired with the rank of Vice Admiral. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him back to Petworth. Here is Vice Admiral Manson Brown. And we're also very honored to welcome as our guests of honor 8 of the residents of the Armed Forces Retirement Home. There are more than 500 veterans living at this wonderful facility right here in Petworth, and I'm sure they're all very happy to have this incredible new store so close now. Please raise your hand as I read your name as we honor you for your service to our country. Sergeant First Class Retired Lloyd Byland. Chief Warrant Officer Chuck Daniels. Sergeant First Class Esker McConnell. Sergeant First Class William Morgan. Chief Warrant Officer Bill Opperman. Sergeant First Class Chet Young. And Chief Warrant Officer Joe Wachter. Gentlemen, thank you all so very much for your service to our country and for what you've done for the United States of America. Before we cut the ribbon to ceremoniously open this store, we want you to get to meet the dynamic woman who has been chosen to become the store manager of your Petworth Safeway. I should note that earlier this week, she celebrated her 20th year anniversary with Safeway. And I think the really remarkable thing is that she knows the grocery business from the ground up. I mean, she started her career in 1994 as a courtesy clerk, was promoted to deli clerk, cashier, bookkeeper, person in charge, second assistant, and first assistant before earning the role of store manager about 10 years ago. She is considered among the very best store managers in the company, which is why she was selected to manage the newest Safeway anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Petworth welcome to your store manager, Marlene Bland.
Thank you. Good morning, Petworth. How do you feel about your new store? Yes. I first want to honor our veterans. I definitely think we need to give them another round of applause. We appreciate everything you have done and what you continue to do. I do want to introduce my staff because I know you're interested in who will be servicing you guys. So come up, guys, please. Thank you. Come on up front. We have Joe Jenkins, our meat manager, Charmaine Lovelace, she's our bakery manager, Barbara Boxdale, GMHBC, Mike Leitner, he's our grocery manager, Bryant McLean, he's our seafood manager. Go down. Jonathan Bailey is our produce manager. Tiffany Medley is our liquor manager. Bobby is our dairy manager. Marvin Marshall is deli manager. We have Michelle Gaylord. She's our assistant manager. Derek Alexander, our assistant manager. And over here that's trying to make a way is Dwayne, our new pharmacy manager. So let's give them a round of applause. I have a great, amazing group of managers that have a lot of years with the company that have been handpicked because of all that they know and all that they do. They have done an extremely amazing job to get this store to look the way that it looks today. So I appreciate you guys, and we look forward to making sure that your store is the community store. We are going to service to your needs. We're going to make Petworth Community Store, not Safeway store, it's Petworth store. So your needs is important to us. We take pride in what you want, so we will take care of you to our fullest. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
5, 4, 3,